Okay, great. Well, welcome. So I'm going to leave my shoes on. I've mentioned this before. It's completely up to you if you want to leave your shoes on here or not. Folks at home, you can certainly have your shoes off. We are going to be coming up to standing at some point. So when we do, if you have your shoes off now, that's fine. But when we do, you might want to slip them on, especially if you're in socks, because the floor here is, it can be a little bit slippery, and we definitely don't want anybody falling or doing anything like that. Okay. So come on up to the front edge of your chair and have your feet right underneath your knees. And sit up nice and tall. So think about your spine. Your spine starts down in your hips, actually. It starts way down here. And think about your spine just getting nice and long, but it also has a little bit of give to it, right? So we're not sitting like a tin soldier, you know, we're actually just kind of allowing the shoulders to rest above the hips. And then the head, this is real important. Imagine your head just sort of perched on top of your shoulders. So just kind of let your neck be loose, let your head turn a little bit, maybe go side to side. Many of us get in this locked position where we kind of, I'll turn sideways so you can see, so we're kind of like this. So the upper back gets locked, and then the chin comes up, front of the neck gets locked, and boy, the back of that neck gets really compressed. So I find that just by letting the head roll a little bit, it just brings a little awareness to how you're holding it. Excellent. All right. So now if it's comfortable, close your eyes and just notice your breathing. So you don't have to change anything about how you're breathing right now. Just notice how the air is moving in and out of your body. Notice if your breath is fast or slow, if it's shallow or deep. And now begin to deepen your breathing so that as you inhale, you can feel your body filling with breath. And as you exhale, you can feel your body releasing that breath. Breathing in and out slowly and deeply. And breathing in through the nose is really important because the nose actually filters the air, it warms it to the right temperature or cools it to the right temperature. And if you have any breathing difficulty, if you have asthma or COPD, or you've been dealing with some breathing issues, it's okay to breathe out through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. So if you purse your lips and blow out very slowly and gently like you're blowing out a candle. But the preferred way to breathe is in and out through the nose, long, slow, deep breaths. And we're going to add a little bit of a count here to the breath. So as you inhale, count to 4 in your mind. And as you exhale, same thing, count to 4 in your mind. And make that a nice slow count of 4. So the slower you go, the deeper the breath. And some of us might find it more difficult to breathe into a slow count of 4, and some of us might find it more difficult to breathe out to a slow count of 4. Breathing in and out slowly. And noticing as you're breathing in and out slowly, as you're doing this process, you might also be noticing, right now I'm really noticing that beautiful bird song outside. You might be noticing something that you can hear. You might be noticing something you can smell. You might be noticing some other sensation in your body. Maybe there's a place where you're a little uncomfortable, a little tight, a little tense. And you're still breathing in and out, and you're still counting to 4 on the inhalations and on the exhalations. Let's take one more really deep breath into that slow count of 4. And as you exhale, open your mouth and sigh. And then simply go back to breathing in and out through your nose at a comfortable pace, something that feels more natural for you. And allow your eyes to drift open. Okay, let's take the hands off the lap, and we'll just start with some work for the fingers. So squeezing and extending fingers as best you can. Sometimes we wake up in the morning and those fingers don't want to move, right? Yeah. So go nice and slow if that feels okay. And then extend the hands, and let's hold them here. And keeping the fingers extended as best you can, we're just going to bring the fingers down and up. We'll listen to that nice wrist music this morning. That's so nice. Great, and then we'll circle around. Even more music out there. And reverse the direction. Good. And then let's take the palms up, and we're going to extend the arms, and then we're just going to bend the elbows and tap the shoulders. So we're still breathing in and out, nice, slow, deep breath, still thinking about the shoulders being on top of the hips and head being perched on top of the shoulders. And the next time you tap your shoulders, let's bring the elbows out to the sides. Pardon me. And we're going to extend and bend here. Yeah, so still breathing in and out, nice and slow and deep. Getting some work in those elbows a little bit. And the next time that your hands come back to your shoulders, let's hold the hands there. And then we're going to kayak the arms, right? So we're just working now the shoulders, not so much the elbows or the wrists. And see if you can turn your body a little bit as you do this. Right? So we're just making some nice, gentle movements. Again, the breath is smooth and steady. If you find that you're holding your breath or your breath gets a little shallow, that means you're just going a little too far. And then at some point, reverse. Right? So we're just kind of backing up. Or if you were backing up before, now you're going forward. Great. Couple more nice, slow, deep breaths. Beautiful. And then we'll let the arms come down. And let's take that right arm. We're going to circle it all the way up and around. So if you're working with a shoulder injury or some sort of limitation in your shoulder, just do the best you can. Maybe your arm just comes out to the side a little bit. Yeah, so whatever modification you make, that's the best thing for you this morning. And the next time that your arm comes down toward the floor, reverse the direction of those shoulders. Great. Okay, and now as your arm comes forward and right at shoulder height, we're going to hold it here, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to turn the palm up and bring that arm back as far around as you can and twist in your chair. And then turn the palm down as you come all the way back and over to the left and twist in your chair. So let's continue doing this, breathing in and breathing out. And if it's not comfortable to turn your head when you do this, so some people might feel a little bit off center when they do, you can keep your head straight. Just make sure your breath is smooth and steady and you're not working into any area where it's painful. Now, it might be uncomfortable, and that's okay, because when we move in places that we don't normally move, there's oftentimes a little level of discomfort that accompanies that. Okay, the next time your arm is across your body, we're going to hold here. Take your left hand and pull that right arm over to the left. Turn and look out over your right shoulder. Breathing in and breathing out. We're going to lift and lower the chin like you're saying yes. Nice and slow and steady. Again, breathing in and out through the nose. Super important. Great, and then bring your head back to center, release that arm. We're going to sweep it out to the side, bring it all the way behind your back. Reach behind you and grab hold of your hand back there or your wrist or whatever you can grab and pull that arm over to the left. And as you pull the arm over to the left, you're going to drop your left ear toward your left shoulder. And we're just going to lift and lower a couple of times. Just till you feel a stretch. Now, for a lot of us, we're going to feel a pretty decent stretch here in that side of the neck. Next time your ear is on your shoulder, let's stay here. And as we continue to breathe in and out, we're going to turn the nose down and then up. And so the movement here is like no, right? So your ear is close to your shoulder, and you're doing this kind of funky no movement with your head. So we're just stretching different neck muscles here, shoulder muscles. You might feel this down into your arm even, or up into your ear. Some people say, oh yeah, I can feel that inside my ear. Because those muscles are all connected. So just 2 more times, kind of sweeping head in this fun little no movement. Great, and then we're going to bring the head back to center. So bring it all the way up. Release your arm from behind your back, sweep it forward and draw it up overhead. Now reach up like you could touch the ceiling so you can get longer through the side of your rib cage. And then lean to the left a little bit. So lean to the left a little bit and see if you can get the arm a little higher up. Good, keep reaching, keep breathing. Great, and with your next exhalation, we're going to take that arm, bring it all the way down, let it hang down by your side. Take your left hand off your lap, let that arm hang down, close your eyes. And notice if your right arm feels longer than your left arm. Or if your right shoulder top feels a little farther away from your ear than on the left side. And then open your eyes. Okay, let's take that left arm, we'll do the same thing. So we'll start to sweep it up and around. Yeah, we're going to start that movement right from the beginning, right? And you can be going forward or backward, whatever is most comfortable for you. It's so interesting how we all have patterns of movement that we're most comfortable with, right? So sometimes some people like to go backwards, some people like to go forwards. So just a couple more of these. And we're going to switch direction, but make sure your arm is down toward the floor when you switch direction because your shoulder is less vulnerable when you have your arm down by your side. And as you switch direction, that can increase that vulnerability a little bit. So breathing in and breathing out, nice slow deep breath. Beautiful. Couple more, twisting a little bit in your chair if you'd like to. Great. And the next time that your arm comes up to shoulder height in the front of your body, we're going to stay there and then turn your palm up. As you inhale, bring that arm around, twist in your chair, and then turn the palm down and come all the way over to the right. So breathe in, breathe out. Twisting. Nice. So we're opening up that side of the body. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I definitely notice a difference one arm to the other. I just have a little more flexibility and mobility in one arm and shoulder than I do the other one. And I would venture to say that most of us have that and we're not even aware of it, so we do these kinds of exercises. So the next time that your arm comes across your body to the right, we're going to hold it there. Take your right hand, pull that arm over. So what we're doing is we're stretching this part of the shoulder here. So pull that arm over, turn your head to the left, and breathing in and breathing out, we're going to lift and lower the chin again, like you're saying yes. So it's that yes movement. Nice, slow, deep breaths as you do this. And then slowly bring your head down to center. Great, we're going to release that arm, bring it around behind your back. When the arm gets back there, take your right hand and grab hold of either your hand or your wrist or maybe a little bit of your forearm. Pull that arm over to the right. And then slowly drop your head to the right and then lift a few times. So we're trying to bring that right ear to the right shoulder. And we're just testing. So how far can I go before I feel a stretch here in my neck? And the next time that you have your ear on your shoulder, let's pause here. And slowly do that no movement. So we're turning the nose down and then up. Breathing in and breathing out. Nice. Couple more of these. And again, I notice a difference when I do this on the right side and when I do it on the left side, because things are not even though they look like they are. And the next time that your head comes up, we're going to draw the head back to this kind of neutral position. Release that left arm, sweep it up overhead. Reach up toward the ceiling, get as tall as you can. So we're opening up through the rib cage and the underarm on this side of the body. And still reaching up with your hand, you're going to lean to the right. So we're lifting up with the hand, but leaning a little bit to the right. Make sure your left sitting bone doesn't lift off the chair. Take 2 more breaths. Ooh. And then slowly release that arm. Let it come all the way down by your side. Let your other hands come off. Now let the arms hang there. Close your eyes for a moment. Take some breaths in and out. And hopefully your right and left arms feel like they're the same length again. And the space between your ears and your shoulder tops feel about the same as well. All right. So let your eyes open. So how's everybody doing with the arms and shoulders? We feeling good? Mm-hmm. Yes, good. Everybody on Zoom? Yes? All right, good. Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit and move toward the lower part of the body. So again, I'm going to have my shoes on, so it's going to be hard for people to see what I'm doing, so I'll mimic that with my hand. So we're going to take the right leg and extend it out. Having your heel on the floor, start to squeeze and extend your toes. So if your foot is in a shoe, you're not going to get as much extension and flexion with the toes as if you had your shoe off. So breathe in, breathe out. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Relax your jaw and your neck. And then let's start to point and flex the foot. So we're pointing and flexing the foot. And if this feels like too much to lift your leg to do that, you can always have your heel on the floor. And then we'll start to circle at the ankle. Breathing in and breathing out. Notice which direction you're circling, and then reverse that. Get a little ankle music in there. All right, we're going to bring that heel to the floor, and then bring your hands to your chair, like right alongside where your hips are. And this is mostly to just maintain this nice tall spine. It's just to give you some orientation. The other thing, if you have like some low back issues or your shoulders, this gives a little bit of support. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bend the knee and bring the heel as far under the chair as you can, and then extend. And bend and extend. And once again, you can do this with your leg lifted like this, or if you need a little more support, you can kind of drag your heel or place your foot on the floor. That's okay. So inhaling and exhaling, and you decide how far to bend your knee to bring it under. And the next time that you bend your knee, you're going to keep that foot back there and put the bottom of your foot on the floor like you're stretching the bottom part of your toes, and then slide or wiggle your foot back as far as it'll go, so you can feel those toes getting a bit of a stretch. Now again, in a sneaker or shoe, you're going to feel it a little bit less than you would when you're barefoot, and that's okay. Now press your heel down toward the floor, and then come up on your toes. And press your heel down toward the floor, and come up on your toes. We'll do this a few times. So we're just doing a little bit of a stretch here. Good. Couple more. Breathing in, breathing out. Great. Okay. And now we're going to take that leg and we're going to extend it out. Have your heel on the floor, toes reaching up toward your shin. You're going to rotate the whole leg out and in. So if you look down at your foot, it's just going back and forth like a giant windshield wiper. Now, notice if most of your movement is happening in the ankle, and see if you can transfer a lot of that movement up into your hip, right? So the ankle is super mobile for most of us. Hip might be a little less mobile for some of us. And you're also going to see a little bit of motion at your knee. So it's really all three of those joints that are working together here. Okay, next time your foot is up at 12 o'clock. So straight up and down, we're going to hold it there. Pull your belly in a little bit, sit up nice and tall, and we're just going to lift and lower that heel. Now, as you're lifting and lowering the heel, have the toes reaching toward your shin, right? So don't point your foot, have your toes reaching toward your shin. That gives the back of the leg a little bit more of a stretch, makes it a little more challenging here for these muscles. So the muscles here in the front of your thigh should be working pretty hard when you're lifting. Next time you lift, let's hold the leg up there. Press out through your heel, draw those toes back toward your shin. So it's like you're pushing with your heel and you're pulling with your toes. Keep going, keep breathing. If your belly's getting a little tired, transfer some of the weight into your hands. Make sure your jaw is relaxed. Can you take 2 more breaths and hold this? This is hard. So these muscles are doing a whole bunch of work right now. Great. And slowly lower down. Good. Let's relax that leg a little bit. Maybe go back and forth. Whew. All right. And now we're going to take that leg, extend it out again. Angle your foot out to the little toe side. So when you're looking at your foot, if you've got your right foot extended, you're going to be at like the 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock position with your leg. Keep the foot and the leg in this rotated position as we lift and lower. So once again, just lifting and lowering, keeping the knee straight. So you don't want to bend the knee, because when we bend the knee, we're not working the muscles that we're really trying to target here. And again, do the best you can. So if you've got something going on with your hip and 1 o'clock is not available, just do whatever you can to get there. How about next time we lift, we hold and breathe. Press out through the heel, pull the toes toward the shin. Really engage these muscles here. So we're really trying to get those muscles online. And if you need a break, put your foot down. That's okay. You can still press out through the heel and pull the toes toward the shin. Let's take 1 more full deep breath in. And as you exhale, how slowly can you lower that foot back down? So really slowly. Oh, mama. Nice. Bend that knee. Let's give the leg a little bit of a massage because we just had it do a whole lot of work. Okay. So from here, we're going to scoot over to the right side of the chair. So get your backside right out to the right side of the chair. And sitting nice and tall, again, I like to hold on to my chair. It just gives me that sense of being rooted here on the chair and I'm not going to land on the floor. I'm losing my mic. Okay. So we're going to lift this leg up and circle around. Slow and steady. And you can make really small circles or you can make big circles. It's up to you. If you need a break, if this is really a lot, you can always put your foot down, have a little bit of a break. And can you at some point reverse direction? Can you go 5 rotations in that other direction? I'm going to take your silence as agreement. Good. And the next time that foot comes down, let's hold it there. And then use your heel and your toes and walk that foot out to the side and way around as far as it'll go. So we're trying to get the knees as far apart. I've lost my mic again. We're trying to get the knees as far apart as we can, right? So we're kind of in this right angle shape. Now turn your torso toward your left leg, right? That adds a little element of stretch here. And now you're going to engage the muscles here in the outside of the right leg and pull this knee back behind you. Because see, this is what's happening. As I turn, my knee comes in, right? I don't want to do that. I want to turn, but I want to pull the knee back. Oh, that has a different feeling, right? Would you agree? Yeah, okay. So now see if you can turn and look out over your left shoulder. Keep pulling that right knee back behind you. Keep breathing. I forgot to mention that. That's kind of important here. that we keep breathing. Okay, and then let's turn the body back toward the center and turn my chair back this way. Okay, and we're going to take this right leg now and extend it out, right? Can you point your toe? So for some people, the toe is going to get down onto the ground. For other people, the toe might be lifted a little bit, and that's okay. Orient your body toward your left leg once again. And now as you press down, activate these muscles. Let these quadriceps muscles here really fire up. So the knee is straight. You're pointing your toe and you're activating these quadriceps muscles. Take your left hand to the chair on the left side. And now let's bend that left elbow. We're going to lean to the left. Keep reaching out through that leg though, right? So don't let the knee bend. And then come back up. And we're going to bend. So we're getting a little bit of a stretch through this side of the waist and a little bit of a compression on the left side of the waist. Just one more time. We're going to go this way. Great. And then come all the way up. Now remember, these leg muscles are really strong. That knee is nice and straight. We're going to take the right hand now, slide it down your right leg. And we're going to lean to the right. Take your left hand up. Bring it to your shoulder. And if you can, reach up overhead. If that doesn't work, if this is like just a little too much, bring the hand right back to the shoulder. So we're going to breathe here and hold. Let's do 3 breaths. Right. 2 and 3. And then come all the way up. Excellent. Okay, let's kind of wiggle that foot in until your ankle gets underneath your knee, right? Keep pulling that knee toward the back of the room. So you're pulling it toward the back of the room. We're going to take the right elbow and forearm now. We're going to place it down here on this thigh. So lean into that. Everybody leaning into that, okay? Take your left hand to your left shoulder. Lift the elbow up toward the ceiling. A little bit harder. If this is too hard on the shoulder or the elbow, just go where you can with this. As you inhale, you're going to bring your arm back and twist your body. And as you exhale, we're going to come forward. See if you can open your right palm and get your elbow down toward the palm of the hand. So inhale as you rotate up. And exhale as you rotate forward. Now make sure you're leaning on that arm. Don't have the arm hanging out in space. Okay, so you want to be leaning on that arm. And one more time, we're going to open and close, and we're going to finish on an open, okay? So let's finish on the open. We're going to release this hand, bring it down to your knee. Don't sit up quite yet. We're not there. And you don't want to sit up from this position. It's a little bit tricky for your back. So we're just going to roll forward, shift your weight into your left hand, and then come straight up. All right. Let's walk that foot in. And as you walk your foot in, scoot your backside to the center of your chair. Take your right leg and immediately cross it over your left. Now, for some of us, crossing the knee on top of the knee works fine. For others of us, especially if you have a hip issue, ankle on top of ankle is just fine. So what we're going to do now is squeeze the inner thighs together. So really squeeze those inner thighs together and squeeze your buttocks as well so you feel yourself get a little taller. So let's relax everything for a minute. Notice how tall you feel. And now as you squeeze your inner thighs and your buttocks, notice how tall you get. So you actually can gain a little bit of height just by engaging those muscles. So as you're squeezing your inner thighs together, and if you're crossing at the ankle, you're really going to notice your knees are coming together. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the belly in with both hands on this front thigh, come forward like you're trying to bring your navel down onto your knee, right? And then we're going to come back up. So breathing in and breathing out. Keep squeezing the inner thighs together. Don't let go of that. We're coming forward and coming back up. Couple more as you come forward and up. And last one, forward and up. Beautiful. Relax all those muscles there. Now, if you can, slide your ankle on top of your knee. Once again, if that doesn't work, Just going to have the ankle on top of the ankle here. And you're just going to relax this leg, okay? So with this leg relaxed, I'm going to take my hands, if I've got my ankle on top of my ankle, I'm going to have both hands on that shin. If I'm, I just said that wrong. If I'm ankle on top of knee, I've got the hands on the shin. If I'm ankle on top of ankle, I'm going to have one hand on each knee. And then what we're going to do here is just come forward and up. Again, like you're trying to bring your navel down onto your knee, right? So that's what it looks like when I'm crossing at the ankle. I keep saying the wrong thing. That's what happens when I'm crossing at the knee. And this is what happens when I'm crossing at the ankle. For me on this side, the ankle cross is way more comfortable because this is my injured knee. So the other side will have a different feel. And maybe that's the same for you. Okay, one more time. Beautiful. And then come back up. Okay, so now uncross your legs, point your toes, reach out as far as you can, look down at your feet, and notice that your right leg is longer than your left leg. I don't know. What do we think? Yes, noticeable. Yes, isn't that amazing, right? So we have the ability to lengthen our muscles, our connective tissue, and therefore our joints. And it's, aside from this being kind of a cool party trick, you know, to say, oh, look at how we can do this, it actually gives you more space in your joints. So when my muscles are tight, it's pulling the ends of the bones closer together. So if I have a little arthritis or some discomfort in there, every movement is going to be uncomfortable. If I lengthen those muscles, then I get a little more space in those joints, and now my movements are a little less uncomfortable. You know, I love anything we can do to make ourselves feel better without drugs or outside intervention, just something we can do on our own. Simple as moving our bodies. Okay, so let's see if we can get that left side lengthened as well. We're going to start by bringing the heel to the floor, just as we did on the other side. We're going to squeeze and extend the toes. So inside my shoe, this is what I'm doing with my toes. And again, you might notice a difference on this side. Maybe these toes work a little differently than the others. And then we'll start to point and flex the foot. Ooh, again, some nice ankle music out there. Good. So pointing and flexing. And notice your spine, notice your breath. Start to circle at the ankle. Ah, good one. And reverse direction. Great. Okay, and then bring that heel down to the floor. So I'm going to place my hands on the chair just to, first of all, remind me where I am in space. And then if I need a little bit of support as we bend and extend this leg. And notice if this leg works differently than the other. How many of you notice a big difference? Yeah, right? Okay, couple more. So the muscles here are doing a whole lot of work. Quadriceps muscles, nice and strong. Next time you bend your knee, let's take that foot to the floor. So you're stretching the bottoms of your toes, and then we're going to scoop or wiggle or slide that foot back under the chair as far as it'll go. See if you can feel that on your toes. If you're barefoot, so this is kind of a fun little thing. You can't really do it in your shoes, but if you're barefoot, see if you can get your little toe on the floor. So you might angle your foot out a little bit. Boy, does that ever bring you some awareness about how much tightness you have in your baby toes. Okay, so we're going to bring the heel down toward the floor and then come up on the toes. And bring the heel down toward the floor, come up on the toes, and keep breathing as you do this. So this is giving a bit of a stretch for the bottom of the foot, the leg. You might feel it up into the thigh. You might feel it around the knees. Some might even feel it up into the upper part of the leg, into the hip. Couple more. Great. Okay. And then we're going to take that leg and we're going to extend it out. Ooh, heel on the floor, toes reaching toward your shin. We're going to do that giant windshield wiper motion on this side. So we're going in and out. Now notice if you're doing all the work at the ankle, shift that intention up into the hip. Right, because your ankle, if your foot is kind of doing this business, if you look down and your foot is kind of doing this, as opposed to this, you're doing more at your ankle. And we really need the motion more, most of us. Okay, next time your foot is at 12 o'clock, straight up. You're gonna hold it there. Once again, holding onto the chair, giving some support. Just noticing, has my spine started to do this a little bit? Pull your belly in some, and we're gonna lift and lower that heel from the floor. So keep your legs straight. Move slowly, especially when you lift. Because if you lift quickly, you're using your hip muscles more and your leg muscles a little less. And we want to make this as challenging as possible. My philosophy is if you're going to do this, do it in a way that really challenges you for less repetitions and maybe don't lift as high because you're going to get so much more out of it that way. How about next time you lift, you hold and breathe. Keep pulling the toes toward the shin, so don't let the foot relax. Keep breathing in and breathing out. Relax your neck, your jaw, your shoulders. Feel what's happening here. Maybe there's a little bit of shaking, or maybe there's a little bit of tingle there. And then slowly lower that foot all the way down. Good, and we'll just kind of go in and out a couple times. Okay, extending out through the heel, toes lifting toward your shin, sit up nice and tall. We're going to rotate this leg out to the little toe side. So again, if you're on your left side, this is going to be about the 10 or 11 o'clock position for the foot when you look at it. Now really activate and engage these muscles here in the thigh, and we're going to lift and lower here. So we're working the quadriceps again, but we're working a very specific part of the quadriceps muscles here on the inside of the thigh, and that's really good for your knee. Beautiful. And next time you lift, you're going to hold and breathe. Keep pressing out through the heel. Keep lifting that toe toward your shin. Sit up tall, so try not to be leaning to one side. You want to be really sitting up nice and tall. Breathe in, breathe out. It's harder to breathe in and breathe out when you're feeling a whole lot of sensation in your body. So let's see if we can do just 2 more breaths. There's 1. And there's 2. Ooh, lower that down. Let's bend that knee. Give that leg a little massage. Everybody's leg's still on. Hasn't fallen off yet, right? Okay. Feels like it might though. All right, so now we're going to scoot over to the left side of the chair. So get your backside right on the edge of that chair, but not so much that you're going to topple off. And then sitting up nice and tall, I'm going to hold on to the right side of the chair. And we're going to circle this leg a little bit. So go up and around, slow and steady. So often when we do these, if we go quickly, what we're doing is we're working with momentum. And so you're not getting the benefit of all these hip muscles out here that are doing some work right now that are talking to you at this moment. That's what we're trying to do. And then at some point, reverse direction. If you need to rest, you can always just bring your foot down and give yourself a little rest. This is pretty hard work. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice. And then we're going to bring that foot right down to the floor. Good. Use your heel and your toes. Walk your foot out. See, once again, if you can get that 90-degree angle. So you got your left knee and your right knee far away from one another. And we're going to orient the body, the torso, toward the right knee. Now, as you orient your torso toward your right knee, your left knee might want to collapse in because, heck, I'm really tight in here and that's going to pull. So if I'm oriented here, I have to engage the muscles in the outside of that left hip, the glute, and I'm going to pull that knee back toward the wall. So you guys are pulling in that direction toward the wall. Okay, so we're holding here, breathing in and breathing out. Let's see if we can twist to the right. And as you're twisting to the right, you don't want to let this left knee collapse in. You want to keep that left knee moving toward the back of the room. Breathe in, breathe out. There's a whole lot going on right now. Funny, I often think if people were to walk in and just see us doing this, they might think, that doesn't look like it's too hard. And yet there's a lot going on right now. We've got muscles on the outside of the hip working, the outside of the leg. We're twisting through the waist. We're twisting through the upper back. And all the while we're trying to breathe, which makes it even more complicated. So just 2 more breaths. Beautiful, and then we're just going to slowly come back to the center. Take your left leg now, slide or wiggle or whatever you got to do to get it out there. Have your toes pointed. So you're trying to get your toes onto the floor and squeeze these muscles here in the thigh as best you can. So keep your knee nice and straight. The right hand on the chair. We're going to bend that elbow and lean to the right and then come back. Breathing in, breathing out. So have that hand on the chair so you're really supporting yourself. That's it. And come back up. And 2 more times. Nice. And last time. Great. And now we're going to take the left hand down the left leg. Once again, make sure these muscles are strong and active. And we're going to lean out. And then let's see if we can take that right hand to the shoulder. If you want, you can bring your arm up overhead. If that's a little too much, I get it. You can have your hand right here on the shoulder, breathing in and breathing out. So your breath is going to be the best indicator. When I raise my hand up, if it's really hard to breathe, that's just a little too much for my cardiovascular system. So I want to just bring my hand down, make it a little bit easier for my body to do what it needs to do. Wonderful. And then let's take that hand down. We're going to slowly come back up. Let's bend this knee and slide the foot until your ankle is directly underneath your knee. Okay, so make sure your torso is oriented toward the right leg. In other words, you don't want to be facing that left leg. You want to be facing the right leg. You're going to take the left elbow and forearm, place it down on that thigh and rest on there. Turn your palm up. Take your right hand to your shoulder. Lift that elbow as high as you can. So this is a little bit more challenging here. As you inhale, we're going to open that shoulder back. And as you exhale, we're going to rotate all the way forward and bring the elbow down toward the palm of the hand. Now you might get your elbow right into your palm, and that's great. And if you don't, that's great too. You're just shooting for that direction. Right? So I'm just giving you a destination to shoot for, but not necessarily a place you need to arrive. Right, and are you breathing in and breathing out? And is the quality of that breath, first of all, is it in and out through your nose? So that's important. And is it slow? So if I'm breathing in and out really quickly and it's through my mouth, I'm hyperventilating here and I'm really not getting the benefit of moving a little more slowly. Okay, the next time that we open up through the shoulder, so with the elbow lifted, we're going to pause here for a moment. And then take your right hand down to your right leg. We're going to just shift the weight forward and around, press into that leg and come all the way up. Great. Let's walk this foot back in, scoot your backside to the center of your chair and simultaneously cross your left leg on top of your right. So again, knee on top of knee, if that works for you. Ankle on top of ankle, if that works better for you. Here again, we're going to squeeze those inner thighs together, squeeze the glutes a little bit, sit up nice and tall, bring your hands to your thigh. Breathing in, lengthen through your spine. As you breathe out, we're going to hinge forward from the hips like you're trying to bring your navel onto your knee. And then coming back up. We can do that a few times. So the objective here is to keep the back as nice and strong as we can as we come forward. So in other words, I'm not kind of slouching forward trying to bring my nose down to my knee. I'm trying to bring my navel down to my knee instead. Let's come forward one more time and we'll just hold here for a brief moment. So we're still squeezing the inner thighs together. We still got the back nice and long. The breath is still smooth and steady. And then slowly come all the way up. Excellent. All right, let's slide this leg. Once again, you can have ankle on top of knee, or you can do ankle on top of ankle. So again, whatever feels like it's going to benefit you the most here. Relax this left leg a little bit. Now, if you're crossed at your ankles, you're going to have one hand on each knee. If you're crossed ankle and knee, you're going to have both hands on your shin with your spine nice and tall as you come forward, like you're trying to bring your navel down onto your knee. And come up. So we'll do this a few times, breathing in and breathing out. Y'all noticing a difference one side to the other? Isn't that something, right? You think about how you sit, like what leg do I always cross over the other one? What leg, I'm one of these people who like to tuck my leg under me if I sit on the couch. I never tuck the left one under me, always my right leg. It's just the left one doesn't know how to do it. Just never has. As you come forward, let's hold here. And again, that's normal because we tend to have more flexibility on one side than on the other. And it doesn't necessarily correspond like I'm always more flexible on my right, my hand, my foot, my leg, my arm. Sometimes I might be more flexible with my right arm, but more flexible with my left leg. Really depends on a lot of things. And then we'll come all the way up. Wonderful. Okay, let's uncross that leg. Extend both legs. Point your toes. Get as long as you can. Okay. Hopefully, everybody's legs are the same length again. Yes. Some people. Yes. All right. I got a thumbs up over there. Good. Because if not, then you have to start at the beginning again. And that's just, that's a lot of work. All right. So let's bend the knees a little bit. And we're going to bring the feet about hip width distance apart, maybe even a little bit farther if that's okay. And maybe angle the toes out slightly. So the past few weeks, we've been coming up to standing. And there's several ways to do that. I think what I'm going to kind of focus on here for, at least for today, is the coming forward part. So if you have shoes, you might want to slip them on, especially if you have socks, unless you feel totally comfortable. But please, there's only one rule in my classes. Don't fall until I'm out of the room. That's the only rule I have. Just don't fall while I'm in the room. So, so we're going to come up to standing, and oftentimes we get into trouble when we think about standing up, right? So I'm trying to come up into the force of gravity. When I'm coming from a seated position, there's this kind of unique way to do it. If we lean forward, instead of coming up, keep coming forward. So we're going to do this one with the hands on the thighs. Just keep coming forward until your backside lifts up off the chair. And when your backside is up off the chair, then straighten your knees and come up. Okay? So let's sit back down again, really slowly if you can. Make sure you know where your chair is. Okay. So there's a difference between that and this, right? So I can feel strain in my back when I try to stand straight up from the chair as opposed to coming forward first. So this works really well on these kind of chairs, because if you look at your knee, and you folks at home, you have different chairs. If your knee is a little bit lower than your hip, then that method works really well. If, say, you're sitting on a chair where your knee is up a little bit higher than your hip, that's going to be a challenge. So the other way that we come up to standing is the rocking method, and most of you have done this with me, right? The rocking method. Some of you maybe haven't. So the rocking method, we're going to put the hands on the thighs. We're going to rock forward and then back, and then on the second rock forward, we're going to slap the thighs and come up to standing. So it's like we're building some momentum to get there. And again, this works really well if you're in a little bit of a pickle where your backside is lower than your knees, or you're in a position where it's really hard to come forward like that. So having your hands here, we're going to rock forward, breathing in, breathing out. We're going to rock back. And now as you rock forward, slap your thighs and launch yourself forward. A lot easier to get up that way. Okay. So those are two good ways to get up from seated position. So now we're going to not quite sit, but we're going to pretend we're sitting. So step a little bit closer to the back of your chair so that the backs of your knees are right there. The most important thing for the most important muscles for getting up and down from the chair are the quadriceps muscles. Those are the four muscles here in your thighs, 4 on the right and 4 on the left. And so the best way to strengthen those muscles is through squatting. And so that's what we're going to do now. So once again, you might have your feet a little wider than your hips if that works for you. For me, it works to angle my feet out just so slightly. I don't know if you can see that. So here are my feet straight on. Right? Can you all see my feet? And now if I bend my knees come in a little bit because that's my anatomy. So what I'm going to ask you to do is look at your own feet. So you might start with your feet straight, and some people this works great. And then bend your knees and notice, Do your knees come in a little bit, or do they stay where they are? Do they track forward? So in other words, when I bend my knee, I want to see my kneecap over my second toe. So you might be angled out a little bit too much, so bring your feet in a little bit. So when you bend your knees, what you're doing right now is going out. So when you bend your knees, you want to have your knees tracking right over your second toe. Does that make sense? Okay. So once again, for some of us, we might have to have the leg angled out, the foot angled out a little bit. For others, we're going to have the foot straight. Okay. So now that we got all the knee thing down, now we're going to bend the knees, lift the tailbone way up. You can have your hands on your thigh. Come down like you're going to sit, but don't. Shift your weight into your heels. Pull your belly in. Breathe and smile. And that helps a little bit. And then slowly come up. Okay, was that a challenge? Yeah, let's try that again. So once again, just know where your chair is, because if you do have to sit down, you want to make sure you land on the chair. And if you felt any pain in your knee, a couple things. You might want to angle your feet a little differently, or don't go down as deep, because that just might be a little bit too deep. So now we're going to bend the knees again. Like you're going to sit. Shift your weight into your heels. That fires up these quadricep muscles more. Okay, so with the weight shifted into the heels. Breathe in, breathe out. Slowly straighten your knees. Coming all the way up. Ooh, how are we doing? Good. Okay, you got one more in you? All right, let's do this. So bend your knees, lift your tailbone out behind, like you're going to sit, but don't. Breathing in, breathing out. Have I told you guys what a teacher of mine once called this? The New York City public toilet position. I've never forgotten that. It was like 15 years ago she said that, and I thought, I will never forget this. And I'll tell as many people as I can. But you all get it. Okay, so let's press into the feet. Slowly come all the way up. Woo. All right, let's come around to the back of the chair. I'm going to do a little bit of stretching here. All right, so just shift the weight into one leg, take the other leg out, and shake it out a little bit. And then shift to that leg and shake out the other one a little bit. All right, so just for a little bit of balance, because I love that we can come up to standing, and balance is something we all need a little bit more of, right? And balance, let me just say this about balance. We think it changes with age only, but it changes with time of day. It changes with time of year. It changes with the amount of water you have. And another interesting thing is balance is affected by medication. And it's not just if the medication says that there's a balance issue. This was something I learned years ago. I did a program at Duke University, and they said people who are on 4 or more medications, 4 or more, and that includes over-the-counter stuff. So if you take like an antihistamine or you take an aspirin or whatever, 4 or more medications, you have a 60% greater chance of falling. And it doesn't matter what the medication is. It's just how it affects us in our bodies. You know, when you start to mix that, you know, when drug manufacturers do their tests, they do it in a certain controlled factor. But now you've got different medications and then the chemical soup of your own body. It's very different. So one of the best poses you can do for balance, I'm going to put my chair over here so you all can see, but I want you to stand with your hands right here on your chair. Shift your weight into your left leg. Take your right foot, come up on the toes of your right foot, and then turn that heel into the leg. So you're angling your knee out to the side. This is the tree pose in yoga. Now, try not to lean into one side. You want to stand up tall, get this leg as long as it can be. Now you're holding onto your chair, at least with one hand. See if you can bring your foot up off the floor. That's a real challenge. The only place you don't want to have your foot is up here on the inside of your knee. Just have it down on the lower part of the leg. We all doing okay? How's your breathing? A little challenged right now? No, you're doing okay? All right, good. If you're doing okay, see if you can take one hand off your chair and bring it up overhead. Might notice that you're wobbling a little bit or your breathing is a little funny right now, and that's okay. And then we're going to slowly bring that hand back down. Release that leg. Let's shake out that standing leg. Did you feel all the work the standing leg was doing? So when you're standing like that, your hip, the outside of your hip has to work really hard to keep you in that position. So right leg, going to have the foot flat on the floor, press down. Come up on the toes of the left foot, turn that heel into that ankle. So again, if you've got your hands on the chair, we're going to come up with that foot. Breathe in, breathe out. Another thing that's important for balance when we're doing these standing balancing poses is to focus on something. So gaze at something that's not moving. How's your breath? Is it good? Smooth? If it's smooth, try taking the other hand off the chair. If you're challenged already with your breath, take no hands off the chair. That's okay too. Breathe in, breathe out. If you're really doing well and you feel like getting that other hand, lift it just for a moment. Changes everything, right? I know. You figure one hand, oh, I can do the other hand. Let's bring that foot back down. Good. Shake out that leg. So the tree pose. I recommend integrating yoga into your life when you can. And the tree pose is particularly useful when you're brushing your teeth. So as you're standing at the sink brushing your teeth, 2 minutes, right? 1 minute on this side, 1 minute on this side. You got the counter right there. You can look at yourself in the mirror to give yourself that focal point so you don't fall. And you're getting a good brushing through your teeth. Because how often do we go into a quick swipe and we're done, right? Yeah, this will make you brush your teeth a little longer too. All right, you guys, let's scoot around to the front of the chair. We're almost out of time. What happened today? So don't sit down quite yet, right? Yeah, because we're going to keep building quadriceps strength, right? I really want strong quads. So having your backs of your knees up close to the chair, we're going to get into that New York City pose. Here we go. Shift the weight into the heels. Now, instead of coming up, we're going to come down, but I want you to come down to a seated position really slowly. See if you can do it without plopping onto the chair. Ooh. Harder than it looks, right? All right, excellent job. So let's close with just a quick little meditation here. So if you want to close your eyes, take a breath in and let it out with a sigh. Take a moment as you're breathing in and out through your nose. Just take a moment in gratitude to your body. And try not to let your awareness of your body go right to those places where you have some difficulty, right? So that tends to be what we do. We think, oh, my bad hip or my bad shoulder. See if you can just hold your entire body in your awareness for a moment. And just find a place in your body that doesn't have difficulty. It might be the soles of your feet, or it might be your ears, or maybe it's some other place, your hip or your shoulder, some place that does not give you challenge. And just sort of express internally your gratitude toward that part of your body or those parts of your body that are just there for you, silently doing everything you need. And then invite in those parts of your body that might be sore, or maybe you've had some surgery or an accident or something that has made that part or those parts of your body a little more vulnerable. And maybe they talk to you a little bit more. And as you invite those parts of your body into your awareness, see if you can hold them in gratitude too. Because whatever pain or discomfort we have, it's something we try to or we tend to push away, but that pain or discomfort is a gift. It's there to teach us. Breathing in and breathing out. Feel your whole body as one system, one miraculous system. Parts working together in the best way they know how. Appreciating all of yourself, those parts that you deem good and those parts that you deem bad. It doesn't matter. They all work together as one system. And then take your right hand to your heart and cover your right hand with your left and just breathe into this space underneath your hands. And direct that gratitude to your breath. The breath is truly a miracle. Without the breath, nothing else is possible. Breath is never optional. Take a deep breath in and let it out with a sigh. And then if it feels comfortable, maybe bring your hands together. And take one more moment in gratitude to all the gifts that you've been given in your life. Those things you've worked hard for and those things that have come your way without any effort on your part. And then if you'd like, maybe opening your eyes and just expressing gratitude to all of these wonderful, wonderful people with us today. It's great to be together. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.